So I'm going to talk about something very controversial and it shouldn't be, but that is the rise of artificial intelligence and that what it means for us software engineers and whether or not we're going to lose our jobs anytime now or in the future. The reason why this is quite controversial is because people have already made up their minds without looking at the facts and evidence. We are starting to see a cult like gathering of people starting to believe in LLMs and AI and all this technology. So there is a huge push from the media, from certain business owners, that one day artificial intelligence is just going to replace human beings. And I'd like to talk about my opinions on this and what I think is going to happen to the field of software engineering. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about something that I call clickbait. Okay. I have no problem with anyone who participates in clickbait. I think clickbait is fine. I think if you look at any field of any industry that has to do with entertainment or media, you are always going to constantly see clickbait. And in some circumstances, it's far worse. An example of clickbait, which is very tragic, for example, in the United Kingdom, if someone from a country in the Middle East, if someone who has a brown shade of skin does something, they will label it as Muslim or Middle Easterner has attacked someone, right? And when a white person would commit the exact same crime, they will often ignore the fact that the person is white, not because the people who create the content are racist themselves, but just simply because they know less people would be interested in reading an article. They want to read Muslim attacks person. So clickbait is everywhere. And the reality of it is that people want to make more money. People want to make money to feed their families. And even if they don't need that money to survive and they just want to collect more money to buy Ferraris, people want to make money. So, whenever you are reading an article, whenever you're reading anything about artificial intelligence, you need to first understand who is it that is talking about artificial intelligence. And this goes both ways, right? I am a coder. I'm concerned about my career. I want to go into teaching programming. You need to understand what I'm saying and sit down and think, perhaps Itamar is coming from a perspective where he wants coding to exist. And that's why he's telling me he doesn't think artificial intelligence is that good. And then at the same time, when someone from a marketing department of Elon Musk, someone who's into selling is telling you, hey, AI is just going to replace all human beings. You need to understand they're doing that so people who hear that can buy into AI. And I'll talk about artificial intelligence and why people want to push this narrative that artificial intelligence is going to take over multiple different industries. So let's get right into it. So, the thing about someone who is from a marketing department or an owner of a business that is trying to sell artificial intelligence, if they exaggerate or make claims that are untrue or are not proven yet by science, they will get more sales. The thing about artificial intelligence is that it pulls a string with us, it grabs our attention, and this is an undeniable fact. Whenever someone mentions artificial intelligence, they are going to get more attention than if they had mentioned a different technology, because there at the moment there is a lot of revolutionary technology, including revolutionary AI technology, that is helping and changing people's lives. But the big thing that we all like to focus on is the AI technology that is one day going to take our jobs. And I'm going to give a answer to that right now. The reality is I have no idea if an AI is ever going to be able to take the job of a computer programmer. Okay. And that's because I can't see into the future. And the reality is, If we look at predictions from previous years, predictions from how people thought technology was going to be in the 2000s. If you look at any popular movie, if you look at technical people and scientific people, they often get it wrong, and that's because we can't see into the future. So I have no idea if AI is one day going to take over programming jobs. What I can tell you right now, with the current LLMs and AI that we have, with the current technology we have, it is not anywhere close to taking over a programmer's job, because a lot of people don't really understand what programmers actually do. We do not memorize code and then input the code. A lot of what we do is decision making on how the code should be structured and how the code should be implemented. And the key issue with AI, it can't think. And that's, I'm not going to get too deep into the technology. There are the other people, other YouTubers who are more qualified to talk about AI, but it can't think in the same way human beings can think. It just kind of regurgitates information already available on the internet, and that's not enough to become a software engineer. Software engineers are not just regurgitating information we find on the internet. It seems like that, but the truth is, we are analytical thinkers who make decisions on code. So at the current moment, AI is not taking anyone's job. And if someone says that, they feel like AI is gonna take over their job, I just don't believe it. A good example is, well, you know, people will say, well, I can just make it a website in 5 seconds by asking ChatGPT. And I wonder if these people have ever heard of Wix, WordPress. You know, we've had technology for years where you just grab a template online and then you just made your website based on a template. And I've even seen a company claiming they can build your website with AI, and essentially they just do this: they grab a template online and they quickly change out the content. It's nothing revolutionary. It's nothing to worry about. It's nothing that's changing. Um, so I don't think at the moment AI is ready to take our jobs. And I was recently at a meetup where someone said that LLMs will never get over what we call hallucinations, and that is when ChatGPT just starts making up information. So if you ask it to do something and it doesn't know how to do it, it will make up code, it will make up libraries that don't exist. And to fully say that a software you can replace a software engineer with technology that makes up code is a bit of a stretch. Even if you could get AI to write all the code and you never want software engineers to write any of the code, you still need to get someone to check. You still need to make sure that it's just not making stuff up. And if this is something that LLMs are never going to get over, then the idea that AI is taking our jobs is a bit of a fantasy, in my opinion. But what I am going to talk about is, when right now I'm going to talk about what is the day that programmers aren't going to be able to get a job. Your employer is just going to be able to go into a machine and say spit out a website, and it's all going to be cheap. The reality is, I don't know when that day is going to come. I'm not saying that programming is going to be here forever. There are many professions that have died out. Okay. In the United Kingdom where I live, there used to be people who used to sell you newspapers on the street, right? So their job would be to stand on the street. You'd walk up to them, pay whatever amount, a pound, 20p, and then they would take your newspaper. They'd give you a newspaper, and that was their whole entire job. We don't have those people anymore. Very unfortunate, but you can't get that kind of job anymore because we have the internet now. And if you want to read the news, you can read the news. You can go to the Guardian online. You can go to the BBC. You don't. We don't have that anymore. So, like many great professions that have died out, eventually programming will die for something greater, that makes life easier. Now, to sit down and say that that is artificial intelligence, I disagree, because you need to think when you program. It's not just copying information you get from the internet and then putting it on your code. You need to think about it. You know, I think what LLMs are going to do, they're going to greatly help programmers and reduce the amount of work we have to do. And this could actually lead to more jobs that some people have been reporting over the internet that LLMs are actually leading to more jobs because what's happening is, well, companies are able to take on more projects because they're using LLMs. They're writing code faster so they can take on more projects so they can hire more engineers. Some engineers have talked about, leaving their jobs to start their own agency because they don't need to hire or learn a lot of different things. They can get a head start with LLMs. And if you think about it, if you wanted to make an application in C++, you have a starting point. um, this doesn't necessarily mean the application is going to run good because you need experience in any programming language before you can start making quality work. But you have a good starting point. If you want to quickly use a library, you have a good starting point. And that's so I think LLMs are going to be a great help. But to say that they're going to completely replace programmers is a bit of a fantasy that has been drawn up by people who want to sell you stuff, and that's fine. But you as a human being need to understand when someone is trying to sell you something, and to an extent you need to understand if I'm trying to sell you something. If I want people to watch my YouTube channel, I want people to code. Maybe I'm here just telling you these things because I want you to continue to watch my videos about coding. But that's my opinion. That's my reality. Um, I'm happy for anyone to put in the comments any research that they've done, anything that they've seen. I've seen the different AI tools, Devin. I've seen ChatGPT. I'm I'm not impressed by any of it. I don't think any of it is gonna take our jobs. I think a lot of it is clickbait to get people's attention, to get investors involved, because one thing I will say about selling anything is people buy products or invest into products because of the emotion they feel. And talking about AI can really spark people's emotions because from one perspective, you have people who are like, I don't want to be replaced by AI. And then from a different perspective, you have people who are like, well, this is fantastic. I don't have to pay a developer 50, 60, 100, 200K a year. So people are very emotional around it. And that's why it's very easy to talk about or sell AI products. But like I like to say in my videos, we need to bring a level of objectivity and understand that the answer probably lies somewhere in the middle. There could be a future where AI does take our job. I can't see into the future. I can't predict it, but that future isn't today just yet. And we need to focus more on producing quality products anyways, as opposed to going to cheap solutions like using artificial intelligence. So that's been my video. Thank you for watching. If you're a junior dev trying to get into the industry and you're a bit scared because you think AI is taking over all our jobs, there aren't any credible reports at the moment to suggest this is happening. And if you are going to use statements from various different people saying that this is happening, what I would say is there's also statements, unverified statements of people saying that AI is actually increasing the amount of work that's in the workforce. So there isn't any credible evidence that AI is taking jobs, and there isn't any credible evidence that AI is increasing jobs. We're getting different reports, and I would just say keep coding and just keep enjoying it. And you can't predict when programming is going to die. It's going to happen at some point, but I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, right? I don't know if it's going to happen in 2000 years from now, right? You can't predict the future. Like, just enjoy it. Coding is something that's fun and it's nice to get into, and you might get paid at some point for doing it. So yeah, just keep coding. And thank you very much for watching my video. Have a nice day.